here we go. Lijiang Tower against the Houston Outlaws, all 3 maps, and let's get into it.
2, 1. Round 1. Capture the objective.
Classic Rhine Zarya and expecting the Mei again. Alright, that's a good sleep dart there from Neff onto the Reinhardt. So maybe we can make something happen. The Mei is going to ice block early, of course, so maybe we can get a charge pin on her to remove her, and then that'll make it a lot easier to deal with the rest of their team once the Mei's out of the picture for the CC. And a good kill onto the Ana.
The objective is now active.
Yeah, I think the main thing that we're seeing right now when we're beginning our engagements is that you guys are setting up a lot of good things, a lot of good plays potentially can happen, but it's taking advantage of said plays. Obviously, Stolen is going to be after the McCree and the Ana on the flank here. Reinhardt's asleep, you don't have to worry about him. Yes, you're getting some pressure from the Zarya, but that's okay, you've got plenty of healing. Mei goes into ice block early because I believe Salem is pressuring her down. She was already below half HP. And then Waffle, you can get a nice pin on her and remove her, and then that puts you back in line of sight of Neff 2. So potentially she can move around here to LOS the McCree player and then heal you and then get another nade on you to keep you up and healthy. And that was the main thing that I saw here, because as things break down, yeah, like you get frozen and you do get the initial kill, but unfortunately because you weren't able to get the pin on her earlier, you would have been right here, well in the sight line of Neff to stay healed, and then Twistic is over here trying to boop them into you. So that's all important for you to get the pin onto the Mei and be in the position where the X is, and then that way we can sustain and then re-engage onto the Reinhardt. And then as soon as that happens, then I'd like to see Twisted go back on healing support and then try and get as much damage as you can into the Reinhardt. Yeah, were you still you're still antied there, weren't you? Or no, you're just focused down? That's unfortunate. I don't think Protege had projected barrier back up in time to save you. But when your Reinhardt is taking a lot of focus fire like that, what you can do is when you're in this position right here, you're burying yourself and you can try and body block and stay in front of your Reinhardt when he puts his shield back up. That way, when you have your personal barrier out, you can stay in front of him in this area right here, and then he can re-shield, and then you can move back behind him when you have projected backup. But nonetheless, let's move on to the next fight here, into the doorway. The choke point. Yeah, good kill on the Reinhardt. He just was overextending there, not expecting Stolen to be on the flank. And they waste ice wall, so that's a good opportunity to take a breather here. You can regroup for a couple seconds, stay behind the wall to LOS because health bars are a little bit low right now, and then we can re-engage in about 3 seconds. That's all that we need to just heal everybody up and get back into it. Yeah, okay, right here. Yeah, Twisted, you're going off on this direction, on this weird wonky flank outside. You need to stay with your team right here. You need to go this way, and then Waffle can call the engage. Either he's going to move up here and around and then inside, or he's going to continue on that path and move around here behind with the rest of you. So I don't want to see this. I don't want to see solo flanks onto the sides of the point. I need you to stick with the rest of your team. Waffle can call the engagements. Either he's going to loop around here and engage there, or he's going to go through this middle doorway, opening this door frame, and then engage right onto the point. Yeah, good barriers there to save Waffle and yourself from getting frozen by the Mei. And now it is time to focus down the Zarya, since all of you were in position to do so. She's very far forward in front of the Reinhardt. And see, that's okay. When you're going for the Shatter, right here you'll notice, if I back it up far enough, you can call out, she used both barriers. So she used the barrier on the Rhine and she used personal. You can solo Shatter and pin the Zarya right up to the wall, or you can just solo Shatter her, swing, fire strike, whatever. Like, she's gonna die. Especially if you solo Shatter and swing and fire strike on her, you've got the rest of your team there for follow-up. So, I mean, yes, it is a solo Shatter, but the Reinhardt's asleep, so you could solo Shatter, kill the Zarya with your swing, and then you can try and go for a pin up to against this wall on the Reinhardt as well. So I think that's optimal. Obviously, you don't have that much time to think about things like that, but do be active supports and DPS when you see both barriers used. Then that'll give you the opportunity to solo Shatter and kill the Zarya player, because then you will be up 3 in the fight, and that's a pretty good use of the ultimate. I mean, most teams would say that you wouldn't have to Shatter here anyway because you're already up 2. Those were good kills, but then again, he also has Shatter, so they could just as easily turn the fight back into their favor. But that's just something to be aware of, that, you know, do you Shatter, do you not Shatter, but call out both the barriers that are being used. You can focus the Zarya down would be the best possible choice. If you feel like you absolutely have to Shatter, then you can solo Shatter onto the Zarya and kill her, and then move on against the Reinhardt there. So let's see how this plays out, because you do end up trying to Shatter the Reinhardt rather than the Zarya, because the Zarya doesn't have personal barrier up. She used it. Yeah, okay, so you do get the pin on the Reinhardt and the kill. Yes. But that was one thing, the fight lasted a little bit too long than it should, and you shouldn't have had to use the nano there, so you should still have the nano for the next fight for your blade, and that'll set up and open up things. Obviously you have Dragon Strike next fight to try and put down the choke, and that'll buy you a little bit more time should they try and wall you off or something like that. So you can use that as a tool to open things up. So having the nano blade there would be nice for the next following fight, because you really only had to use Shatter if absolutely necessary. You didn't have the nano there. So I will skip ahead. Yeah, to right here. And yes, things are going very passive all of a sudden. I don't know why. Yes, all 6 of you are here. Why are you still on point? You captured the point. Speed boost up and hold this choke point down here. And the reason why I was moving the camera this way is because I thought you were going to do that. So you only need about 5 seconds, 4 or 5 seconds to get here, so hold this choke point. Because if you're holding this choke point or you're holding this choke point, you know, combination of both of them, the Mei can't really push in on you unless you overextend out here. So don't overextend through the choke points because that's bad. But if you're holding back here and you're holding right here, then that's going to either force them to get a bad engage on you here, or they're going to be forced to go up here and around, like to the middle of the point. And when they're moving that way, you have a Lucio speed boost, so you'll be able to back yourselves out and get on point out in the open and fight the Mei out in the open, because you don't want to fight the Mei into the hallways. So don't go into the hallways and don't go through the chokes, but you can hold in this room here. And the reason why you can hold in the room against the Mei is because there's so much open space here that she can't actually wall off and divide your team, because there's many ways to get around the wall. Holding them here also will slow down their progress and force them to either go around or cut through you the old-fashioned way. So that'll get you much more percentage on the clock. Point control. Yeah, well, you can call out Reinhardt, like Ryan 1, Ryan antied, Ryan half, all that good stuff. Yep, good kills there. And then get on that Zarya. Good kill. I see the 1v1 there. Excellent. Now, that was another nice kill onto the McCree there. Right here, right? Yes. Good snipe. Now, get up here and hold this choke point. That'll make them use Grav and Blizzard on you early, and you'll have a little bit more time to regroup and get back. So yes, they have a ton of ultimates to use, but you also have sound barriers, so you possibly could sustain through it, and at least give yourselves a fighting chance to do so. And that'll make them use a lot of ultimates here, perhaps 3 or 4 ultimates to get through the choke point and the Mei wall. So that's where I would be holding, right up here. Because when you're holding up here, you had all that time, you had that 7 seconds, because Stolen got the extra pick onto McCree, so that he had to respawn and then come back. So if you're holding right here, on either side, you could still get a lot of ult charge and value just playing the angles and the corners. You don't actually have to go through that doorway, so you could just stay right behind the doorway here onto the X marks, and then just play those angles and try and get value, get more headshots, get more fire strikes in, whatever, build up shatter, build up your grav, and get closer to the next nano boost. Like, you can use all that time to get another 20, even 30% ult charge. Yeah, huge shatter, huge anti. And you tried to go for the sound barrier on top of that when he was dead-eyeing, and then you ended up getting dead-eyed as well, so, I mean, that's a feels bad, but that's mainly started up because of not taking advantage of what the enemy team is giving you, because holding here gives you so much more of an advantage to build up all of your ultimates across the board. Now, you do have sound barrier to work with, but not quite as much as having both the shatter and the grav available to counter everything that they have to throw at you, because they are at 6 ultimates here when they push in. So at the very least, you can use a couple of your ultimates there, like the shatter, the grav, and the sound barrier, and that'd force out probably 5, if not 6 of their ultimates here. So let's see how this works. So pan the camera back. Okay, so yeah, there was a great barrier on Waffle. He just was so low HP after the shatter and the headshots that there was nothing that was actually able to save him. And you try to go for the sound barrier, but you are cut down by the Zarya. Okay. But yeah, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate he was able to get that shatter in there. But well played on their part. Big nades in there too, from both Ana players. Alright, and then I'll skip ahead to the regroup section here. Yeah, see, they are doing what I want you guys to do. They're holding right here. And yes, I know they have the Mei wall, so this is an advantage to them. But if you're holding here as well, then that would force them to fight through you in order to even get on to the point. So just the amount of stall there, perhaps an extra 15 to 20% every time you hold here. And so once the wall goes down, then of course you could push into them as a group. Big ante, so you gotta back out of that. That's good, you got a couple kills on their tanks. Excellent grab and follow up there, and I'm proud of you guys for backing out when you got antied. None of you got into the blizzard. That was good positioning there. Good barrier. McCree's on the left. Did anybody notice? Oh, Neff sees it. Great sleep. Alright, and you call out for Salem's help, that's good. And you get the kill on him, excellent. Oh, that Lucio stall. Good barrier on Waffle. I'm surprised you played so passive here. I know you go in for the pin, you miss the pin, but you're still at full HP, you have a barrier, and you're nanoed. It's like, don't be scared. Don't be afraid of the other Reinhardt. Good fire strike in there. Yeah, the McCree keeps getting caught out. He's getting a little bit greedy trying to build up that Deadeye, and Stolen keeps hitting him in the head. Yes, push up here. Push up. Push up. Don't stay on point. Get over here. We've got Ana and Mei's back here, so Mei can't even hurt you unless you cross this line. And so you could possibly kill the Ana here and then hold this choke area and bring it to 99.99. We have Blade, and we've also are during our Dragon Strike to cut off the enemy team, create a couple opportunities there. Blade for cleanup. Okay, it looks like they want to rotate the long way. A little bit risky when you only have 8% left before you can touch the point, but obviously the plan is to go right through the middle here onto the control point itself. Is it server room? Yes. Okay. Wow, what a long pin charge that was. Okay, so I think Protege's intention was to barrier Waffle. Salem just happens to be there in line of sight of the barrier onto Waffle. But yeah, I mean that was a great beat drop from them. All of them, of course, have sound barrier, and then Waffle. I think you go too far here because the Mei, like, if this was a really good Mei player, what she'd do is she'd just wall you right here as soon as you pin the Zarya in there and just kill you. Like, their Zarya's not gonna die. Like, they've got heals, they've got sound barrier, they've got a couple, uh, well, she can't use projected or personal for this, but like I see the point is to try and push them off the point. Like I get that's what you're trying to do, but they're going to be able to touch anyway. So I think just overall it was trying to keep them back from here, but I think the angle that you took to try and pin was that, you know, because you went straight through the room, it's just a little bit too far, but I want to see how this goes right here. What amazes me is that you survived so long, Waffle. Like, I get, you know, it was only like 4 seconds, but like, just incredible. Ooh, Dragon Strike almost catches the Lucio. It does. Alright, you get the kill on him. Good blade action here. Maybe you can get the Zarya too. Going for the Mei, going for the McCree. Wow, you guys almost turned this around. Yeah, I mean that was close. I mean obviously you're going for the hero play here, trying to just keep them off the point. Was it the Mei that contests the first time? Yes, the Mei gets there just in time. Interesting, interesting. You know what would have been something, Neff, is if you were able to get a sleep dart onto the Mei right here and sleep her like right here before she even touches the point, and then the round would have been over. Incredible to think that just like one little play like that could have given you the win, but overall, I mean, you're clearly the more talented team. It's just it is taking advantage of positions and making the enemy team fight harder for every inch, especially when they have Mei. They're not going to move that fast, so making them go through the chokes like you would have to go through the chokes with them, and you don't have to play Mei to do this. I mean, controlling like the point control that you have, the hallway control, just with Genji and Hanzo, like the instant headshot ability, and you've got the deflect and all the damage and tech that Genji has to prevent teams from pushing in or even killing one of your teammates. Like just little stuff like that. Obviously, I get you're trying to pin her off, Waffle. Like I get all that, but just you could win this fight really the old-fashioned way. You have enough ultimates here to do so. So like I would say, yeah, like Dragon Strike here. When Waffle goes in, like if you're trying to plan that, like you know that they're going to go through this hallway, so like either you can all set up here, like inside. Let me draw that accurately. Set up right here inside because you know that they're going to come through this doorway. So like you can try and dictate that choke. Yes, they have sound barrier, but if you're dragon striking through, then that prevents them from coming through the point itself, and then somehow if you're able to get a kill on that Lucio, it's game over right there. So it's just some thoughts that I have on seeing this match, but I always love the Control Point 1. It's probably my favorite Lijiang Tower map. Garden being my least favorite unless I'm playing a hero that can actually like get boop kills or whatnot, like a Winston, a Lucio, a Pharah, something like of that nature. Diva's always fun on that map, but overall I have more flexibility playing Night Market and Control Center. So let's go to the garden. Yeah, in my opinion, I was just looking at this setup because keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer, right? And they swapped to Moira. Why would they swap to a Moira here? I would say Lucio all the way would be better for them with the Pharah Mercy combo, and then of course you've got Genji to go in with your Rein Zarya, and you'd need the Lucio to speed boost them up. This is an excellent group composition that you guys came out on. This is perfect. Plays into all of your strengths. Stolen's getting very good at McCree, of course. Salem, you're pretty good on hit scan. We have our Rein Zarya, we have our Lucio speed boost, and we've got plenty of healing for Moira, so I like that. This is just a real question for me. I think the Moira should have been Lucio there.
Five, four, three, two, one. Round two. Capture the objective.
Alright. Alright. What is wrong with this picture right here? Anybody for $200. Please, please roll out with the rest of your team. Speed boost them through the white room, and then on to point. You'll have point control as a 6-stack. And that means that they're going to either have to go through here to meet you. They are much slower. You can already be on the point. By the way, you'd be able to hold this choke point as they're pushing through the hallway because you'd already be set up here. Now, I would be polite to you, Twistic, because I like you, but if this was like a ranked game, yes, a lot of your teammates would call you a feeder for doing stuff like this, so please, please stay with your team. They need you. They need your speed boost. They need your healing. They need your support so they can get to the point. First, they can beat the other guys there, and then they can set up shop right here, and they'd have that angle and then this angle to work with while they're basically inside the little tower here. Good kill on that Pharah. Overall, now it's Genji time. Try and kill that Genji before he can do any more damage. Great pin. Jeez, where did you come from? Oh, she was going for the res on the Pharah. Great, great diagnose there. Great, great spot. Good job, Waffle. Good job. Okay, so you deny the res, you get the pin on the Mercy, that kill. Genji kind of ruins things for you here because you're not able to deal with him in time. If you were, you would have turned that around as a 5v6. Incredible stuff. And overall, once again, leaving a little bit too soon. We still have our very important Zarya player, so please wait for her, and then speed boost her as a unit with you guys, all 6 of you, back in through the white room and then onto the point. Now, when they are hitting Coalescence, you can collectively as a group just back out and LOS into the corner there. That way you'll be relatively safe from the Pharah, and the Moira will have to push up with the rest of their team, and you can kind of bait them in. You do have a lot of healing here, but unfortunately, Twistic, once again, you get too aggressive here when they are coalescencing, and you get right into the Reinhardt's face, and then D.Va has Defense Matrix, so like nothing, none of your damage is really coming through, other than essentially your Zarya beam, so keep that in mind. Okay, so what's going on here? Is there like a communications breakdown? Because I see Waffle and Twistic are ready to engage, but you four are still hanging back here, so is there something going on in chat? Are we discussing a strategy or whatnot? Both of you are capable hit scan players. I know both of you can deal with the Pharah Mercy. That shouldn't be that much of an issue. Yes, they have Blade. They'll have Shatter this fight. You've been alt tracking, of course, and we can do a nano boosted Waffle, but we all need to be grouped up and on the same page. So as soon as you leave spawn, formulate your plan right here in the courtyard area and then move together as a unit. So I just noticed this, like sometimes you guys like get split apart, and so this is one of those examples where yes, have a plan, be on the same page, communicate, make sure you guys are all going to go white room because you're not playing dive, and this is a perfect group composition to deal with what they have to deal with what they're giving you, but you got to make sure that you set up your team in a position to succeed to allow your hit scan players to help deal with that Pharah and the Mercy. So since they're hanging out right here, you guys are over here, you are over here, but you know that they're there. So it's getting from point A over to point B safely as a group of 6 and engaging them. So if you can remove them first, then you'll have a great chance of taking the point back over their ground team. Seems like this is one of those situations where you'd have to kill the Pharah Mercy first. There's other situations like that you've experienced on Control Center or Night Market where teams run Pharah Mercy on that as well, and you can just eliminate the 4 ground team members extremely fast and then deal with the Pharah Mercy after that, and then of course they lose their effectiveness because they're not able to hang around against a 5 or 6 member team strong. So yes. Okay, so you are coming back, Twistic. You are escorting your team over. That's good. That's good. All of you stick together and then move into the room. So yes, she does concussion blast over. Now, unfortunately, you don't have defense matrix. That's okay, but you do have your barriers, and then that should buy you enough time to get into the room. Great sleep. Now, so you call out Pharah slept. Now I know you are full HP, Waffle. If nobody touches the Pharah, then you can pin her to the wall, kill her, and then try and deny the res from Mercy. Alright, so final fight here. They have Valk and both their tank ultimates, and they'll probably have a Coalescence before this is all said and done.
sterben nicht. What Lijiang?
Okay, so I'm gonna wind that back up here, 86%. So yes, no other choice but to go across the bridge. Now I know there's some Reinhardt tech here that you can practice. There's that, I know most of you don't know who Bear of Ware is, but he can nail the Reinhardt charge across and over into here and then walk around onto point. So you could practice doing stuff like that for this situation. I know that's like really hardcore stuff, but since you are a Rein main, you can give that a go. But yes, they do have the boops. At this point, you should be able to get a grav before the game ends because you are at 83%. We have Noon, we have Nano for Waffle or Electric Cowboy, your choice. That was unfortunate. Oh, you get hit by 2 in a row. Damage boosted rockets. Yeah, the far, you know what? They hung back a really long way, but I think their most effective thing is that their accuracy was pretty good throughout the match.
Nerf this.
Yeah, at this point I'd just be like, yep, Deno boost onto Waffle.
Helden sterben nicht. What Lijiang with it? Allow me to repair the damage.
Who do you, Nano?
Helden sterben nicht. What Lijiang with it? Allow me to repair the damage.
We tried to Nano Waffle and he just died before it could get there?
Helden sterben nicht. What Lijiang?
Yes, yes, okay, so just a split second too late. That's unfortunate.
Allow me to repair the damage.
And Tracer to stall, breaking out the ball. We're getting serious here. Stall tactics. Professional stall tactics.
Get into position. Scale them a
I like it though. Keeping things alive, going around the ceiling area.
Get into position. Scale them a hole.
Alright, and then on to Night Market to finish up the third map. I was sightseeing.
Capture the objective.
Alright, so you're expecting them to play Mei again, of course, the classic teleporter strat. Oh, the person who invented this. Alright, so Cancer is going to teleport from here onto the high ground and then drop down, so yes, they have the Mei wall, but they can only block off one area of the choke here. Of course, you'll have Symmetra turrets to deal with. The main thing is that you guys can actually run Pharah Mercy. Let's see. Yes. You and you can run Pharah Mercy here because you know that they're probably going to bring Sim and they're probably going to bring Mei. So you can try and outsmart them and say, well, you know, they won't have much of a counter to you other than the Ana and the Diva will try and do what they can against you, but it's solid pick. Nothing can really hard counter you here. And we have plenty of healing here. I like the Moira, the McCree is great. And then Ryan Zarya, that's good. So let's see how you do the first engagement here. Yeah, okay, so here's the main issue is that Twisted, you're on the outside. You need to be helping your team with the engagements. Engage over here, and then disengage. Engage, and then disengage, and heal up, stuff like that. So that way you're giving them more support, and you're building up that sound barrier, because they're going to need multiple sound barriers. Probably 3 sound barriers from you total this round to help win. Good pin on the Reinhardt. You get him down. I was trying to figure out what the purpose of this was. Maybe they think that you have a couple ultimates already, and they just wanted a way to teleport back out. That way they wouldn't be stuck onto the point, but they do have dominant point control also with the sim wall itself to help divide the area and give that huge LOS barrier to walk around. So that's what I was surprised with. I would suggest everybody to group up here and go main. That way you don't have to worry about getting booped off by the D.Va and the Lucio. Yeah, like, you know they have sim turrets in here. Like, yes, of course I can see where they are, but you know that they're going to be either like here, here, something like that. They're usually going to be in this location. I just always assume that they're going to be in this location for main. They're probably not going to be like back here or back there for the sides. So I'm not sure what was going through your mind when you're trying to wall ride through. Essentially what was the microwave, as I jokingly call it. But yeah, no, it just, you want to be on the outside of that. Try and poke and see where the turrets are, and then kill the turrets before you can engage. But you know, it takes a lot of team coordination and communication from you guys in order to help each other out where the locations of the turrets are. And of course, in this case, they're here, here, and here. But if you can't see the turrets as soon as you hit the doorway here, then you have to assume that they're here, here, or here. So you could try and do the right clicks and then like bury yourself, right click, and then back out and stuff like that. So you try and get a little bit of poke damage on them without risking just full-on walking through there, because you will get microwaved and killed. So keep that in mind. Alright, so I will skip ahead here to the next fight. Yeah, so Winston can help against a team composition like this. I've ran Winston very effectively against this team comp. It does help, of course, to have a Zarya with the Winston, but In this case, you can kind of make it work. Of course, the Winston is very good at removing Sim turrets and countering the Sim Ana and Lucio composition. You just have to be able to pocket him and keep him alive. That's the main thing, is that he requires a lot of healing when dealing with this.
Get into position.
And that's like one of the little things here. I'll be a little nitpicky. But like when you jump in, you don't have to necessarily jump in that soon. You can walk up through here. You can walk up through that main choke point and then hit right here, and then you can move and then jump in, either dive the Ana and clear some turrets or whatnot. You have Dragon Blade available as well, so, and the Shatter. So the point of both the tanks would be to not die instantly. Basically, that's your job right here. So you have to be a little bit coordinated about this, but just you used barrier a little bit too soon, so you can get a little bit deeper dive and then barrier, and try not to get slept immediately, because they do have the Ana, so you can call out, dive Ana, try and get a big shatter in and whatnot, and clear the turrets and then clean up with blades. So that would be that thing. I'd imagine like once you get point control back here, that you would have to stay on point, because they're going to do the exact same thing, and they're going to teleport her from here up to the high ground and then drop down with all the sim turrets and whatnot, and then try and blizzard you on the point. So I'd say like you have to stay on the point, and then you could stay like back here or whatever when they teleport in. That way that you can try and bait them to use the blizzard like on the point itself, and then have a little safe location to back out to for 4 seconds and then come back in.
Get into position. It's quiet.
Alright, so we have one more chance to get back. And yes, I do like the Pharah swap. So maybe you're able to go around on the side here and try and get some good damage, maybe a pick or two, before the control point ends, or before time expires. I know Twisting does his best to touch. I think he gets booped off. And yes, you do get booped off. And then you try and go back in and contest again, but you weren't able to get there in time. So, yes, a couple final thoughts on control point here would be to let's see. Let me get the right timing here. Yes, to control engagements here in this room area. May can't wall you off in this area, so you can force them to fight through the small choke points, or for them to go around, and then of course you could speed boost as a team and then meet them out here. Stuff like that, that sort of positioning. I do have some final thoughts on the garden as well. There's just some instances where instances where we weren't grouped up as a team and whatnot. So I think, once again, positioning, going into custom games and practicing positioning and callouts and moving as a team, even if we're not fighting an enemy team, just practice positioning on maps for the specific map pool before we go into actual regular season games and whatnot, so we're all on the same page. We can practice the callouts of the rotations, either moving to White Room, or if we're diving across the bridge, or if we're going to teleporter from here onto the point itself. Just those three strategies, just practice that a few times and get everybody used to being on the same page. I think that'd be really important, just everybody getting used to the actual rotations, callouts, and positions of each of the map pool picks. We can also continue practicing against Far Mercy. That's fine too. And then final thoughts against this strategy is because we're going to see a lot of the teleporter here onto the night market. Lijiang Tower, classic map for tiebreakers and whatnot, or the said fifth map in the series and whatnot. So very important to defeat this strategy by either bringing double shield and Mei, or double shield Farah Mercy and a lot of the tickle damage, the poke damage. Perhaps a Symmetra of your own could be beneficial in the future, because many teams run this strategy, of course, in the Mock League. These guys prefer the Mei version, and then there's some that prefer the double shield, and then the Bastion in place of the Mei and whatnot. So we can practice against the teleporter rotation strategy here, and Hanamura, point A, and Volskaya. Those would be the three most popular ones, of course. You could do it on just about any map, but out of those three maps, I've seen it like 90% of the time, so I wouldn't really worry about the other maps as much, because that's not really a favorite of teams. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review and took some things from it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.